Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
The only thing in Terraform you need is its binary. So if you go through this link I have already shared, you will find a basic tutorial shared by the Terraform itself, and install Terraform manual installation, homebrew. Homebrew basically we use in Mac, then Windows, then Linux. Okay, Linux for all the versions they have like Ubuntu, CentOS, Fedora, and Amazon Linux. Okay, and at the end, if you go through this article, you will see that to install Terraform, you only need to download the appropriate package in it. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. So what we do? Basically, we just download the package on the on your system. You put that binary in your binary path. For example, in Windows, I put it as an environment variable. In Linux, we put it in a bin folder. Somehow the same processes with the Mac, and that's it. So Terraform at the end it will up and running. So the first step is basically what you are gonna do is install uh, Terraform binary from okay. Next thing is install uh, Visual Studio. Okay. Uh, I
So,
believe
so
any experience you have on Visual Studio?
yeah, I already had that installed.
Okay, that's cool. So in Visual Studio, once you install it, what you need to do, go to the extensions. Okay, at extensions, write down Terraform. Okay, and here you can install this extension Hashiqa Terraform. I have already installed it. That's and you already have an experience with that Visual Studio. So here it is showing uninstall. That means it is already installed. So what you need to do is go to the if you can do it now, just go to the extension and download the extension related to Terraform. Okay, it's gonna help you in avoiding any syntax errors or create a better scaffolding for that. Make sense? Cool. So these two things, just perform those steps, and after that, what I'm gonna do? Let me create one folder and move it here. Okay. Okay. So in Terraform, basically, I'm gonna create this main.tf. So the extension of the file which you create in which you put your code is a sorry, it's .tf. Okay, so as you see in because I have installed the HashiCorp extension, the time I mentioned extension as .tf, you can see the Terraform logo here, right? So it will read that okay, this file is basically of Terraform. Okay,
Okay.
so what I'm going to do, as you have an experience with AWS, I'm going to use it for AWS Cloud. So in order to connect your Terraform code with the AWS code, there are few things which we're going to follow. So basically, in Terraform, there is a provider block. Jimmy, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah, I
Okay.
can hear you.
So as
Yep.
okay. So in Terraform, there is a provider block. Okay. So in provider block, what we do basically we uh, mention the details of the cloud with which we want to connect with. Suppose we are connecting with AWS, so that's why here it is required providers, and we have AWS sources, HashiCorp AWS, and the version number. So what it's going to do after defining this, and if we run the Terraform minute, it will install all the binaries related to this AWS cloud. Okay, so that whatever commands we are going to use later on, it's going to read it from there.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear
Hello.
you. I said okay. I
Okay.
said okay.
Okay. So as I was saying that there are a number of providers. See, these are all the providers which Terraform supports. AWS, Azure, GCP, Kubernetes, Alibaba Cloud. Okay, this is the list of verified providers which are verified by HashiCorp. So what's gonna the basic difference is like suppose we are working on AWS. If we go to this click on documentation, so it contains all the commands related to the AWS. Like if after that, if you want to configure the EC2 instance, so go to the EC2, and if you want to create an instance, so these are all the commands for that. AWS EC2 instance. See, we are defining the AMI ID and the instance type. That's it. It will work.
So,
So basically,
so,
it's in the template form.
so let me ask you a question. Why would I use this
Yeah.
versus instead of Ansible?
Yeah, actually, in Terraform, first thing is like you will find being a developer, the life with Terraform is easy with respect to Ansible. Here, you only need to maintain a code within the file, and only thing is like we are just gonna pass on the values. Okay, and it is more in the optimized form. In Ansible, what you need is you're gonna run on the Ansible controller, and you're gonna write down the playbooks or maybe the roles. So and after that, you need to maintain everything. Here, everything is gonna you can maintain it within a one file. And here, one more thing, which is the beauty of Terraform is we create a modules. For example, I'm gonna cover that part later on. Let me show you some sample code. Okay. So what we do basically in a production environment, we create a modules folder. Okay, and we create folders with respect to the environment. For example, dev. We have created a dev folder. Likewise, there is a QA environment, right? And you will create a QA, then there will be production environment. I created a prod. So modules folder. The reason of creating a module folder is it contains only the templates. For example, uh, there is a component in Azure which is resource block. So what I'll do, I'll create one modules folder. Within that, I'll create one folder resource group. Okay, and what I'm gonna do, I'll just pass create its basic. I will mention the basic details of creation of resource group. That's it. And its values. What I'm gonna do. Suppose in production, I want a production resource group in US East. So in prod, I will be passing the value as US East. So it's gonna create it for me. Suppose in dev, I want to create it in a Mumbai region. Okay, so that value will go here and it will create a resource group in Mumbai region. So the main logic behind creating a modules is like we just create a templates and as per our environment we just pass on the values. Okay, and these values can be hard coded ones or you can pass it as a variables or you can pass it as a list, you can pass it as a map. It depends on the requirement.
Gotcha.
Okay, those models we are going to cover up later on, but yeah, so this way you can manage your code easily. And once we do it, we push it our code to the whatever SCM you're using, maybe GitHub, Bitbucket, or the repo of any repo you're using. Just push your code to there and run the Terraform. Either you can run this from Terraform Minute, from the Ansible, or from anywhere. Okay.
Okay.
So uh, yeah, I was talking about the providers. So you have these providers. So suppose in future you want to practice Terraform in Azure, what you do? Let me share this link with you. I'll be sharing this whole notepad once we complete the today's session, right? So just go to the Azure, open it. Once it is open, then go to the documentation. So you will see all the documentation related to the Azure. All right. It has also steps to authenticate, like authentication steps with the Azure. Similar is the case with GCP. Okay, so
Okay.
we are gonna cover up the AWS. So let me open this. Go to documentation. So here, using this tab, you can manage the versions. So latest version of Terraform is 4.80. This is the latest version of AWS repo. Okay, so they are two different things. You will find one version of Terraform and there will be another version for the provider which we are gonna use. Hold on for a second.
Okay.
Hello.
No, I was saying okay.
Okay. So so suppose I want because if you go to the older versions, you may find that some attributes would be missing there because as you can see, HashiCorp they keeps on updating their repo. It say 4.8 version is the it is published 5 hours ago. Likewise, if you analyze this whole push, you can see a day ago, 7 days ago, 14 days ago. All right, but don't worry. Suppose you want to use a 4.0 version, so it will be compatible with the other Terraform versions also. Like we have never faced in the production also, because in production we are using AWS version of 3.75. It's a 3 point something version, and right now it's working fine. We have got all the attributes there. So that's the first thing. So this is the Terraform block. I just copy and paste it there. So I have created one file which is named as main.ts. Okay. So here I have copied this required providers. It's a so AWS required providers has value in the form of map, key, and value. Okay. So one thing which we I would like we need to take care in Terraform is how we are defining the data, because you will see that moreover the data will be in the form of map or a list, but moreover it will be in the form of map. So AWS equals to uh, curly braces then source hashtag of AWS, and version is 3.0. Okay, and here we can configure the provider. So provider region is US East 1. I'm just copying and pasting it from there. Okay, you can suppose in US East 1 is Virginia. Okay, Mumbai's region is near to my from where I've logged in, so I will be using AP-South-1. Okay, and next thing is, yeah. Uh, so what we are saying doing, we are creating a VPC, which is a virtual private cloud. Okay, so I believe when you create a VPC in VPC using AWS manually, what you generally do, you go to VPC, and
What
after
if you
that,
are what if you already have a VPC defined?
yeah, that I'm gonna cover up. We will be covering it
Oh,
up
okay.
later on. There's a different
Oh,
model
no
for that.
worries.
Right now we are just
Okay.
right now we're just talking about creating everything from scratch. Just visualize that you don't have any component in the infrastructure. Now you need to create that. So how we can do? Later on we will be covering up, like suppose there are few components which are not even created by Terraform. Suppose someone created a VPC manually. Now there is a requirement that you need to ask that. So how you can do this? How you can incorporate that within your code? Those things we are gonna cover up. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So basically, the reason I'm showing you this, like, what is the difference in the manual creation and by creating these things from using Terraform? Suppose you have a VPC. So what basically we do, we just go click on create VPC. VPC only. There are two options. Okay. So if I create VPC only, what we do generally, we mention the name and the CIDR. That's it. There are other attributes also, like IP basis we want, tenancy, tags. Okay. So we do what we do in manual case, we just mention the values. Similarly, in Terraform, it's resource AWS VPC. Okay. So if I in the left pane scroll down, go to the, so you will find a VPC folder. So within that, you will find the two folders: resources and data sources. So the answer to the question which you asked, like suppose if VPC is already created, so what you're gonna do? So for that we have a module named as data source. Okay. So what we basically do, I'm just answering your question. I'm not gonna use it now. I will use it later on. Okay. So there is one
Yes, sir.
there is one module which is AWS VPC. So this is how you use. You mentioned this if data, then AWS VPC selected ID, and you mentioned the VPC ID. That's it. So what it's gonna do? It's gonna pull the details of the existing data, and you can use it later on within your code.
Okay.
So data is so data is so data is basically data module basically. Hello.
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah. So whenever suppose there are resources already created in the environment and we want to use them, so we use a data module for that. So how it syntax is? See, this is the keyword data. It remains as it is, and we can't change it. Within the double quotes AWS VPC, this is also the constant. But it's a keyword. Okay, you can't rename it. This part you can rename it as per your convenience, as per your basic standards of the code. Okay. Same is the logic with the resources. So here I have defined the resource block. Resource is the keyword which we are gonna use as a resource only. After that, we mention in double quotes which resource we want to work with. Here we are working with AWS VPC. So AWS will understand AWS VPC only. So we can't change these two things. Okay. And this is example. This is basically known as the logical name. The third part. Logical name is like we use this name within the code for referencing the module. For example, I am creating a okay. For example, after VPC, I need to create a subnet. Okay, so as you can see, as you can see here, this subnet requires while creating a subnet, we need to pass on values to VPC ID, availability zone, and CIDR block. And VPC we have already created here. So what I'm gonna do here, I just pass on AWS underscore VPC dot AWS underscore VPC is a resource name, which is a keyword, which is the keyword which is provided by AWS Terraform, and the logical name. Here, example, I can rename it as VPC underscore prod. Okay, so I'm gonna pass that
All
value
right.
here, VPC underscore prod. Then here it is looking for ID. Then dot. As you can see, these all are the attributes which we can call, which we can. These all are the attributes of VPC. I need ID. I'll select ID. That's it. So we basically these are the logical names. So we can define it as per our requirement, and we only use these names while calling out the values in the other subnet, or maybe while in we can or in the output.tf file. Like suppose you after running this code you want to see uh, what resources are created, what its value, what are the attributes, so that you can use it for. Okay, so there is one resource. I'm looking for some official doc for it. Okay, I'll share that link with you so that you can take a reference. But this is the main crux. So what are the resources and how we how we mention it? Okay.
All right.
So after that, there is one more thing, which is so I'll cover that later on. The only reason I because as you asked, you had some doubt, so that's why I covered that now.
All
So
right.
we have So these are the basic blocks which we need. We have a Terraform block in which we have mentioned the provider name, the source, and the version. Now we have the provider details, but and we have VPC. So let's try and run this, and let's see what happens. So in Windows, I'm gonna use CMD. Okay, Terraform init. What it says, the directory has no Terraform configuration file. So this error you will see. Suppose you are not you are running this command Terraform init uh, in a folder which doesn't contain any .tf file. So what I did, uh, I thought that what I did, I ran this file within the Terraform folder, but my main.tf is within this folder one underscore day. So I'm gonna just switch to that. Okay. Now I'll run Terraform init. So this is the first command in Terraform. Terraform space init. So what it does, basically it downloads all the bandwidths of provider's version which is mentioned in a Terraform block. So for example here we have mentioned in this is the Terraform block. Okay. So we have mentioned here AWS and its source and version. So this Terraform init is gonna download all the binaries related to it and put it in the .terraform file. It will create a .terraform folder automatically. Okay. Hello.
So when you run it and create it, I was gonna know like your access key and your secret key.
Yeah, I was coming to that. So
Oh, okay. No, no worries.
that was my next question to you. So as we have created Terraform, we have mentioned Terraform block provider and resource. Okay, but we have not set up anything like how to connect to set up a communication between this terminal and the cloud, AWS. All right. So for that, we need to mention we need to mention the keys. So there is one way which is one way is within this Terraform provider block. I can mention access key. Okay, and this is for secret key. Cool. And these keys you get it from like go to IAM. So as you know, access key programmatic access and AWS managed console access. So do you know what is the difference between these two credential types?
Say that one more time.
What is the difference in these two credential types? Programmatic access and AWS management console access.
Oh,
What's the difference?
the access key and the secret key. Essentially, you can use for like to make API call or for API. It's more for like the um like what it says there. Like you can do things from like the
Yeah,
CLI and stuff like that.
Watch our complete session, enroll for our premium membership. Click onto the join button and enroll yourself with the best suited option.
Yeah, exactly.
The
So
other
suppose,
the other one is just for you to access the console, the service, the AWS
okay,
dashboard and stuff.
uh, yeah. So yeah, you are right. So I'm creating here Terraform admin and providing it credential type as a programmatic access key. So if it's using this user, I cannot log into the AWS console. Okay. All this user will be useful only calling the APIs which you said, right? So what I'm doing right now, I have created the user. After that, uh, I will be providing the permissions and access stats. That's it. So I have provided admin access to the user. So likewise, you can provide the access based on the requirement. For example, you want to give access for only creating the instances. So those policies you can design as per the requirement. Okay. So this is one access key and this is the secret key. So these I'm gonna pass it to the. So this is the access key and this is the secret. Okay. Now let's try Terraform. Okay. It says you may now begin working with Terraform. Try running Terraform plan to see any change that required for infrastructure. Okay. So this is the one way of connecting from Terraform to the AWS cloud. And this is not recommended in production. You will see that you will not find anywhere in the code using the access and secret key.
Why is that?
Uh, because due to security issues, if you share, suppose right now I have given the I have given so right now if you can see I have given admin rights to this user. Okay, and I have mentioned this access key and secret key, which is easily accessible. If someone has access to this code, and they can easily use these keys. So there is another way, which is like creating a role, which is preferable. And one thing is like one process is like we put this access key and secret key in a vault, Terraform vault, so that to provide us so that no one can uh, get access to it. Okay,
Okay.
but hey, but here for a learning purpose, I'm just mentioning it. I will cover up that later on, like what are the possible ways and what is as per the best industry practice. I'm gonna cover that as well. Okay. So after Terraform Minute, so as I said, Terraform Minute is basically to download the. So as you can see, when I run Terraform Minute, you will find some change here. So it has created .terraform folder automatically. Earlier we had only main.tf file. Alright. So what it has done
Okay.
after Terraform Minute, you can see it has created .terraform providers registry. So if I click on this, so it has what it has done. It has downloaded the required registries uh, from the Terraform's repo. See Terraform block.hcl. So this file has extension of HCL, which is HashiCorp configuration language. So it has mentioned Terraform version, constraint, and hashes. Okay. This, as you can see, it is
Okay.
mentioned this file is maintained automatically by Terraform Minute. Manual edits may be lost in future updates. So that's why in production, what we do basically, we put this file in a remote. Basically, we put this file in a remote storage. Most often in AWS we use S3 bucket for that. So I'm gonna show you that setup also, but right now I'm just covering up the basics. That thing we are
Okay.
gonna cover up later on. So basically, you won't find this file in your GitHub repo. So we mainly put this in a secured location, which is S3 bucket. The reason is again because it contains. Suppose there are three developers working on the Terraform code, and then someone accidentally changes any of the hash value, then it will break up your code, and that can create a huge mess up in the Terraform infrastructure. So in order to avoid such scenarios, it is counted as a best practice. Okay. So now the
Okay.
next command is Terraform plan. So if you are in Terraform plan, you just notice one thing. Notice any change here. Okay. If you are in Terraform plan, it's taking some time. Cool. See. So Terraform plan purpose is it will show you like whatever code you have written, what it's gonna do. Like, is it gonna add some resource in the infrastructure? Is it gonna delete some resource in the infrastructure? Is it gonna change something in the infrastructure? So those things you will come to know before provisioning the infra. How? If you scroll down, it will you will see that Terraform will perform the following actions. What is that? VPC pod will be created. That
Okay.
means this VPC will be created on Terraform, and these are the values of the VPC, which is uh, and here we have passed only CIDR. That's why it has showed you the CIDR of the VPC will be this. Known after apply, these values will be known once VPC gets created. That's why it is not showing it here. True and default, as you can see, these are the default values for these attributes. And you can see we have only defined attribute which is CIDR block, and we have not defined any of the attribute. So what it will do, it will pick up the by default values. Okay. Next question, how will you come to know what are the by default values? That answer you can find in the Terraform block, where see you need to go to this refer to the doc. Here you can see this is the document for AWS VPC, but this is for data source. Okay. So within the doc of Terraform, you will find two subfolders: resources and data sources. Differences, as I said, resources is we refer to resources when we want to create something. We refer to data sources when we want to fetch details of existing resource. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So when we go to resources, you will see AWS VPC. Okay, here it is. So this is we have providers VPC resource. So first thing, how to reference this document. On the right pane, you see on this page example usage. So this is the example usage, like how you can use this block, argument references. So what are the arguments we can pass while creating a VPC? It is referring to that. So as I said, as you can see here, there are many arguments. Okay. So the reason to show you this is these arguments which you can see in Terraform plan, they are coming from here. And if you follow, see enable DNS hostname, it is an optional argument. A boolean flag to enable or disable DNS hostname in the VPC default is false. DNS support default is true. And as you can see here, enable DNS support, it is picking up value true. This is the by default value. Okay, and attributes references. Attribute references basically what are the attributes you can call from like what are the outputs. Suppose we have created VPC. So what are the attributes we can refer to from VPC like ID, instance type. Suppose after running after creating the VPC, you want to check uh, what is the value of enabled DNS support. So for that we create a module which is output. Okay, in output I have mentioned suppose I want to check the VPC ID. So this is a logical name. Again, this is a logical name. So you can create it as per the basic coding standards, or sorry, naming conventions of the, because every organization has different naming conventions. So you can mention it. I'm mentioning it as VPC underscore ID. After that, in output, we mention a value. So in value, we mention, sorry, before that there is one description. Always remember to mention a description because it will help to understand your code if some other developer works on it. Okay. So description, what I'm mentioning, uh, VPC ID of VPC ID created by. So you can mention anything in your language, which can, but the only thing it should be understandable. So in value, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pass AWS underscore VPC, which is a resource name dot logical name of the resource, which is VPC underscore prod dot. Now, as you can see, ARN CID block ID. So I need ID. So this is the ID of the VPC. So in the first block, in the resource block, we have created a VPC. Okay. Now, what we want to know, okay, our VPC will be created, but what its ID value, what is gonna be. So for that, we have using output block. So output basically block is used to call the attributes related to the specific resource. That's its purpose. So before Terraform plan, in Terraform plan you will see it will show you it will summarize everything. It will here you can see 1 to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy. So 1 to add means there is one resource block which is gonna be added if we apply the changes. 0 to change, that means nothing to change in the code in the infrastructure. 0 to destroy, that means nothing's gonna delete from the infrastructure. Okay.
Okay.
So before Terraform plan, there is one more command which is Terraform Validate. So what it does, Terraform Validate only checks for the syntax errors. It never checks for the logic. There are two different things. I'm repeating it once again. Terraform Validate only validates the syntax. How? Suppose I have missed double quotes here. So if I run Terraform Validate, see, it will show you uh, main.tf line number 23, resource AWS VPC prod. Strings may not be split over multiple lines. To produce multiple string, either use the slash n. Okay, so it will show you, it will only check for the syntax errors. So there are three commands. One is Terraform init. Terraform init is for what purpose? To install the binaries. Another is Terraform validate to validate the syntax errors, and we covered up Terraform plan. Plan, it will show you the changes within on the infra. The next command is okay. Now we are satisfied that okay, uh, nothing is gonna be deleted from infrastructure and we are good to go. Then run Terraform apply. Terraform apply again. It will run Terraform plan at the backend just to give you last cross check. Like these are the things which this code will do. So then it will ask you for your acknowledgement as well. That yes, that will you accept the changes? You can say yes or no. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna put yes. Okay. So our VPC is created now. Okay. As you can see, creation complete after 2 seconds. One added, zero change, zero destroyed. And we are as you can see here, VPC ID is this. From where it is coming? It is coming from this output block because here we are calling the ID of the VPC. Okay.
Okay.
So if I go to AWS, where is it? Yeah. If I go to the VPC component, click on it, and see VPC. But it is in North Virginia. I'm creating in South Mumbai. Okay. So we have one VPC. This is the VPC ID 09592. So it has created VPC, but there is no name because we have not defined any name. We only mentioned the CIDR. Okay. So the reason to show you this, like I wanted to cover up the basic things like resource block, data block, Terraform block, providers block. Okay. So yeah. So this is all like so before starting your Terraform, like this is the basic. Uh, so whenever you're gonna create any of the code, these commands will are gonna be same. Init, validate, plan, Terraform apply. Any questions?
Now,
Till now, what's we have covered up?
what was plan again?
Okay. Plan means see in Terraform there are two states of file. As you can see here, it has created one tf state file. This file is created after Terraform init. So this file contains. Let me show you from the diagram. This is our AWS. Okay. So once you run Terraform plan, what it will do? It will go to the AWS block. First, it will do. It will read this tf state file. This file, when it gets created, when once you run Terraform plan. So every time when you run Terraform plan, it's gonna take reference from this file. This is the most important file, and we put this file in S3 bucket. So as you can see here, as after running Terraform init, we created a VPC. Like as you can see, resources, there is a AWS VPC type. So it contains all the details related to the VPC. So the crux is our Terraform plan. It will first read this file. First step. Next step is it will read the configurations which you have created. Third thing, it compares both the files. Fourth, it will show you summarize those changes. How? As you can see there, 1 to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy it. What it means? That it will show you, as you can see, plus sign. Plus means these resources are gonna be created after running, if you run Terraform apply. So in a simple language, you can understand it this way, that you will come to know before provisioning the infra, like what's its impact, my code, what my code impact, uh, what will be the impact of my code on the infrastructure. Whether it will create something, it's gonna destroy something, it's gonna change something. So that report you will get earlier, before running the Terraform apply, before doing some damage, before doing some changes to the infrastructure.
Gotcha.
Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay. So it's a useful tool to understand. Suppose, for example, now we have main.tf, right? Suppose now I want to, suppose accidentally, for example, you have deleted this code, you have deleted these two, for example. Now if I run Terraform plan again, okay. So suppose, for example, you have deleted it accidentally. Now this is your best practice, that you always run Terraform plan, and you will come to know, you will find that this code is something misbehaving, like there is something not good with this code. First thing, you are seeing that there is a minus sign, which indicates that something, this code is gonna delete. Next, you can see this VPC prod will be destroyed, and in the last line you can see 0 to add, 0 to change, 1 to destroy. So this is alarming for you. Okay, so you will come to know before doing some damage to the infrastructure. You will get the summary before, so that you can, so you will come to know, okay, my code is deleting some resource from the infrastructure. So what is that resource? This is the resource, and there is a minus sign as a the prefix. That means it is deleting this resource. So the next thing is, so you will you're gonna create that resource again. Okay. Now if I run Terraform plan, as you can see, your infrastructure matches the configuration. So that means there is no change. That means we are
Gotcha.
not adding anything to the infrastructure, not deleting anything. And from where it gets this information? So what it does, because Terraform takes reference of this TF state file every time. Every time you run Terraform command, let it be plan, validate, apply, it's going to take reference from this file. And if that resource is in this file, for example, if I take a reference of previous example, if I delete this, okay, and then run Terraform plan, as usual, it's gonna say 1 to destroy. So how it came to know 1 to destroy? So first thing, what it's gonna do, it will check the TF state file. In TF state file, you can see there is a this resource as is there. There is a resource named as AWS VPC. So what Terraform is comparing, like, okay, what it is showing in Terraform plan, okay, in the TF state file you have this resource, but in current configuration file, this resource configuration is missing. So that means this resource will be destroyed in the infrastructure. Then Once you run Terraform apply, it will ask for your acknowledgement that are you okay with this? Then you say yes or no. Okay, so that's why we put this file in a S3 bucket. I'll cover that later on. That's the only reason, and it is also recommended not to do any manual change in this file, because once we do some manual changes in this file, it may damage your code. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so any questions you have?
Uh, not tonight.
Okay. So last thing is, like, we have created the intersection. Now I want to delete it. There's a command, simple command, which is Terraform destroy. So Terraform destroy, what it will do, it will delete all the resources which are defined in this file. As you can see, while it is running Terraform destroy, when I clicked on this tfstate file, I got this message: unable to open tfstate, unable to read this file. Why? Whenever you run Terraform init command, Terraform plan, delete anything, Terraform automatically puts a lock on this file. Can you see lock.info? So Terraform will automatically put a lock on this file. The reason, so that on fly no one can do some changes in it. Because this is the main file which Terraform takes reference of. Okay. So now I ran Terraform destroy. So what it will do at the backend, what Terraform is doing, Terraform will go to this tfstate file. Okay. See, I can still not open this file because this Terraform destroy command is still running. It is waiting for my acknowledgement. So the
Okay.
reason is, Terraform destroy, what it does, it will Terraform in backend. Terraform firstly read the file which is tfstate. It will find all the resources, and it will print output that I'm gonna delete all the resources which are defined in tfstate file. Are you okay with it? If I put yes, the next step is it will delete the VPC which we have created, because our tfstate file only has that VPC. As you can see, one resource destroyed. Now, if I click on tfstate file, it is empty. There is no resource block. Okay,
Okay.
and if I go to the AWS, then you can see, refresh it, it is gone.
Wow.
Okay, and so next time, if I want, see, so next time if I run Terraform plan, what it will do, again it will it on the backend. Terraform is referencing to tfstate file. Terraform will find that okay, this file has no resource, and it file that has no resource named as VPC. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create that. So you will find that information in Terraform plan that okay, one to add, zero to change, zero to start. That means it's gonna add this resource VPC, because it's there is no reference to that in the tfstate file. Okay. Any questions?
No, not at the moment.
Cool. So what I want you to do is, I'm gonna share this thing, not these. So you just take a reference of this recording session and try to perform whatever we have covered up.
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the 3D99 plan and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.